last phase of EE in 2022 on a very high note. Your honest expressions and viewpoints made it an absorbing evening. Now, isn't that a really long break from 2022? Of course, yes, because I had no intentions of continuing as I thought the purpose was met. But then during my recent tour to the US in March, April, May 2024, I had so many in the audience come up to me and specifically mention how much they enjoyed Expressions Espresso and they clamored to have it back. Well, after a lot of deliberation with my team, I did give in to that request and decided that we should all meet up on this platform in periodicity, though it need not be a defined one. As and when we have amazing guests, I will get them across to you. So here I am once again with the 46th episode of Expressions Espresso. And as always, we have a very learned and versatile guest who is going to add a lot of value to our health and lifestyle, charming us with his disarming smile. He is perhaps one of the first few from the medical profession who discovered and made use of social media as a tool for betterment. His in-depth knowledge and research in his chosen field of gastroenterology, topped with his humor and simplicity in expressions, all of it has garnered for him a huge fan base. So many have benefited from his tips and advice. He has clarified and broken so many myths and carved a separate path to good health with his simplistic approach. Our very own Tamiler, Dr. Pal, had his schooling in Madurai and later moved to Coimbatore to do his medical graduation. He then did his master's in public health in Boston and went on to finish his MD in gastroenterology. Currently, he practices at Sacramento and continues his research as well. Whoa, what an impressive trajectory, amidst which he also makes time to reach out to people like us, educating all of us through his social media handles. His other interests, quite a lot. He was a national chess player in the under 14 segment with a ranking of 3. While he did brilliantly here as well, if he had to excel in medicine, he was advised by his faculty, by his professors to change course. And so he did just that. Aren't we happy that he did that? Else, not, we would not be having him in our midst here today. He listens to a lot of music, all kinds of genres, and to a lot of music made by Ilayaraja sir, A.R. Rahman ji, Haris Jayaraj ji, and Anirudh. It is with great pleasure, absolute pleasure, and happiness that I welcome to our show the versatile Dr. Pal Manickam, consultant gastroenterologist, researcher, mentor, tutor, stand-up comedian, and so much more. Here he is. Vanakkam, namaste.
Namaste, Sudhaji. How are you?
Very well, and it can't be better that because you're here on screen with me.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's so nice of you. Thank you.
So many people here waiting to listen to what you have to say for us. Thank you very much for joining us on this show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Put out the poster announcing the show and asked them to guess. The guesses were immediate, correct, and no doubt, I think you were the only person on everyone's mind. Our audience is delighted, Dr. Pal, and waiting for this moment. And certainly, the team is very happy that you could make time for us.
Thank you, Sudhaji. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm blessed to be here as well. Thank you.
So, here come the questions. While you did well in sports, how tough or easy was it to give up all of that and focus on medicine? I ask because I too was crossed as a crossroads in college when it was a choice between medicine and music. And my professors, my guide, my tutor, she told me that I think music is your calling. So why don't you take up a subject which is more easy to handle than medicine? Because once you get into medicine, your focus has to be on it.
Mm.
Yes.
So it's a very interesting, very important question as well. I think so. Looking back at my life, I think this would be an educating point for younger generation as well. So I was doing well in chess. I was around like 9th standard, 10th standard, and but not that so well. So I would be always, securing the third spot, fourth spot. I've never clinched a title. I never won a tournament. I was interested in chess, and that's 10th was the time when my parents said that, okay, I think it's time to focus on the studies, and let's put the chess on the backstage. But I think I'm glad that they did that. If not, I would not be here.
Certainly, yes.
No, not in terms of medicine and everything, but I think as a career as well, I think that was a wonderful decision that my parents did. I'm not saying that you should not go with your passion and everything, but you need to be really honest with your passion, and that's the key. And you know for sure whether you will be how strong the passion is, and then whether you have the skills within you or not. And I know that I was interested, but I don't think I was like very passionate about it to a point that I can excel significantly. Maybe I would have put in more time, more effort. Maybe I would have been, brother of like a low budget Vishwanathan Anand. But I think this is a one important lesson that I would say to everybody. Younger generation Gen Z, everybody is going about passion, passion, passion. But I think you need to be honest within yourself in terms of like what is the passion about. Do you think that you really have in it? If it is, then yes, you will please go ahead. Just because that you are interested in something doesn't mean that you are passionate about it. So I always tell my younger generation as well that, hey, get a doctor degree first, or any other any other degree that will sustain your financial status,
Mhm.
because and then all the passion will come along with it, and you will know if you need to switch careers right from the beginning. And I think that is an individual decision. I think that has to be made by that individual very carefully. And I think I'm glad that my parents made the decision for me.
No, but it's good. I mean, in the sense that you so humbly accept the fact that you had your family support for the decision that you took.
Correct, 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 correct. Yes, yes.
எல்லாருக்கும் அது அமைஞ்சிடாது இல்லையா?
எல்லாருக்கும் மஞ்சள் இல்ல, சில பேர் சொல்லுவாங்க இந்த மாதிரி அவங்க அம்மா அப்பா ரொம்ப ஃபோர்ஸ் பண்றாங்க. நான் எனக்கு பிடிச்சதை என்னால பண்ண முடியல அப்படின்ட்டு. அது கொஞ்சம் ரிஸ்க் இருக்கு.
இல்ல ஒரு அப்பா டாக்டரா இருந்தா பையனும் டாக்டர் ஆகணும், இல்ல லாயரா இருந்தா அதை ஃபாலோ பண்ணணும் அப்படின்ற ஒரு ப்ரெஷர் கொஞ்சம் இருக்கு.
ஆமா. ஆமா. இல்ல இப்ப எங்க சைடுல பாத்தீங்கன்னா, நாங்க தான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஜெனரேஷன் டாக்டர்ஸ். எங்களுக்கு ஹாஸ்பிடல் கிடையாது, எதுவுமே கிடையாது. ஆனா எங்க அம்மா அம்மாக்கு என்ன டாக்டர் ஆக்கணும்னு ஆசை. முக்காவாசி இன்ஜினியரிங் பேரண்ட்ஸ் எல்லாம் பாத்தீங்கன்னா அவங்க டாக்டர் படிக்க மாட்டாங்க. ஆனா அவங்க பசங்களை கண்டிப்பா டாக்டர் படிக்க வச்சிருவாங்க. அந்த மாதிரி தான் எங்களோட இது இருந்துச்சு.
Why was public health a choice for you to do your master's before you chose to specialize in gastroenterology? And also, there's a B question. What made you settle down in the United States?
I'm going to be very honest. I know I might get some negativity on this, but the reason for public health was நான் PhD medical collegeல MBBS பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கிறப்ப it was very clear at that time that ஒரு first generation doctor இருந்துட்டு, and coming from a middle class family to secure the financial status, I think it was extremely difficult at that time. Even now, I think even now. ஸோ வி வர் திங்கிங் எம்பிபிஎஸ் வந்து 6 வருஷம் படிப்போம். அதுக்கப்புறம் எல்லாரும் வந்து கேலிக்கட் போவோம். எங்க பேட்ச் எல்லாருமே தே வென்ட் டு கேலிக்கட் அண்ட்
Mhm.
and Kochi and Trivandrum. So there was this coaching center over there where we rent a place. அங்கே வந்து தங்கி நாங்களே சமைச்சு நாங்கள் காலையில் 8 மணிக்கு வந்து கோச்சிங் போய் நைட் 9 மணிக்கு வந்து திருப்பியும் நைட்டு ஃபுல்லாக படிச்சு காலையில் திருப்பியும் அதே ரொட்டீன். ஒரு மெஸ் இருக்கும். அந்த மெஸ்ஸில் வந்து மாதம் 500 600 கட்டிட்டோம்னா காலையில் 2 தோசை, மத்தியானம் ஒரு பொங்கல், நைட் 2 இட்லி கொடுப்பாங்க. ஸோ இது அப்படியே வந்து ஒரு வாஸ் ரொட்டீன் ஃபார் 6 months. 6
Okay.
months முடிச்சதுக்கு அப்புறமும் there will be a one national exam. அந்த national examல I got almost like 95-96%. ஆனா அந்த 96%க்கு தாண்டி பாத்தீங்கன்னா அது அந்த 4%ல வந்து 40 லட்சம் பேர் இருக்காங்க. அவ்வளவு பேர் இருக்காங்க. So then and most of them had அந்த சைடுல பாத்தீங்கன்னா they had like a support, hospital support, or if there was any other first generation doctors, they were able to do well. So அப்ப வந்து luckily for me, எங்க அக்கா வந்து she was in US at that time because she got married. So I got exposed to United States medical licensing exams and everything.
Mhm.
So I thought the only honest truth was, okay, US வந்தா quicker settle ஆயிடலாம். The financial security was much better over there. So that was the honest truth. And at that time, visa வந்து கொடுக்கல foreign medical graduatesக்கு. ஸோ எம்பிபிஎஸ் படிச்சுட்டு நீங்க நான் வந்து ஒரு 2-3 விசா இன்டர்வியூல அட்டன் பண்ண எல்லாம் டிக்ளைன் பண்ணிட்டாங்க. நீ we have your scores are good, but we cannot give it to you அப்படின்ட்டாங்க. So then this master's in public health was an alternative route to get into US on a student visa, where you come on a student visa that you are studying public health, and then simultaneously you give all the medical licensing exams. I would say those 2 years, 2006 to 2008, was my most distressing years, and that was the root of my success at this time. Looking back, it could have gone either ways. ஏன்னா நான் வந்து பப்ளிக் ஹெல்த்தும் படிச்சு I also worked in part-time jobs to support the public health fees. At the same time, I was doing my medical licensing exams as well at the same time. So எல்லாமே வந்து at the same time நடந்துச்சு 2 வருஷம். அந்த 2 வருஷம் தான் வந்து I think everybody, if you look back in your life, there will be some time where you have to put so much hard work, and you will easily recognize those hard work. And I can tell you, more often than not, all the time that hard work will be rewarded in some way or the other.
I'm glad you stressed on hard work because I think the younger generation needs that kind of a motivation from people like you. Hard work. If you put in your if you maximize your efforts, you put in your maximum efforts, success is just around the corner.
Yes, of course. And to be honest, I'm not that talented.
People think you need support from seniors, you need luck, you need money, everything else besides hard work. Ada vitturanga. Hard work vitturanga. And I think hearing it from you will have a great influence on a lot of younger gen watching this show.
Of course.
So also, can you tell us a little more about how you became the social media hero, entering and establishing yourself as a stand-up comedian on Manickam, and also reaching out through your own channel, Gut Feeling?
So this was quite an accident. It was completely an accident. I never even imagined that I would be in social media. This was back in COVID, where ஒரு non-profit organization ஒருத்தவங்க இருந்தாங்க. அப்ப வந்து my family got stuck in I'm sorry, this is what happened. February last week, my wife, my kid, and my mother-in-law, everybody went to India. I was supposed to go to India on March 5th. February 27th வந்து they put the travel ban. அப்பதான் COVID வந்துச்சு. They got stuck over there, and my hospital got shut down, so I had time in that first week. So there was a non-profit organization asked me to do an awareness program on COVID in terms of what COVID is. So எப்பவுமே when I do a presentation, எப்பவுமே ஏதாவது ஒரு காமிக்கல் ஆங்கிள் இருக்கா அப்படின்ட்டு ஃபர்ஸ்ட்ல இருந்தே சின்ன வயசுல இருந்தே வந்து அந்த ஒரு இது இருக்கு, ஒரு சின்ன எனக்கு ஐ ஹேவ் இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட். ஸோ அதனால இந்த ப்ரெசன்டேஷனுமே அந்த மாதிரி தான் நான் பண்ணேன், ஒரு மாதிரி ஒரு ஆங்கிள் ஐ டெலிவர்ட் இட். So I sent it to them, and then they said that this doesn't look very professional. This looks like a stand-up comedy. We cannot publish it over website. So then I said, what do I do? You put it on YouTube. அப்படின்னு சொல்றாங்க. So that video got viral because of the timing, because இந்தியால வந்து அப்பதான் கோவிட் வந்திருந்துச்சு.
Okay.
And then I put that in a lighter note, so I think that got attention, and that was the start of all this.
And this gut feeling?
So once I realized that okay, எனக்கு வந்து I also do stand-up comedy shows for my hobby. இங்கே ஒரு பில்டிங் 18 அப்படின்னு ஒரு ஸ்டாண்டப் காமெடி கிளப் இருக்கு பே ஏரியால. ஸோ ஐ யூஸ் டு ஜாயின் தம் அண்ட் ஐ டூ ஒரு 10 minute செட் லைக் வெண்டிங் அவுட் ஆஃப் மை மெடிக்கல் ப்ரொஃபஷனல் எக்ஸ்பீரியன்சஸ். ஸோ ஐ டூ தட். அப்போ வந்து தென் ஐ ரியலைஸ் தட் this social media is so powerful, it is reaching so many people, and when you
Right.
add humor into it, it is even lighter. So I also, so there were like win-win for everybody. So எனக்கு I check my interest, and then audience get the medical information as well, and I got so much good karma from all the responses that I got, and I said okay, so I'm not leaving this at all. As long as it goes, I'll just keep doing it. That's what
Very wise decision, I think. So now I come to technical terms now. This acid reflux. I think this is something that is now, kind of everyone seems to be complaining about this, especially musicians. I must tell you that I myself had a very bad patch and I had to stay away 1 year. I think it was 2015 from the annual Margari festival in Chennai. Ever since, I don't think I've completely recovered from it, Doc. There is a residue from that, and there's this fear of, will I jump into the situation if I eat this, if I eat that, if I sleep after 2 hours after I eat. A lot of questions keep kind of haunting you. And I have a lot of younger generation reaching out to me saying, Akka, you had this situation. How did you handle it? Because we find it so difficult to sing when we get into a situation with this acid reflux. So, what would you tell us? So, I think it's better that you tell us what we should do. Just give us some insights from the gut perspective as to why this happens and how anybody can tackle it, especially musicians.
Sudhaji, first kudos to all the performers on stage. And the singers, அவங்களோட எல்லா அந்த பேக்ரவுண்ட் பிளேயர்ஸ் எல்லாமே நான் வந்து I'm seeing so many of them very closely because I'm traveling to many shows. I'm seeing what they actually go through at the backstage. இப்போதான் நான் பார்க்குறேன். முன்னாடியெல்லாம் நான் வந்து நிறைய கான்சர்ட்ஸ் போவேன். I love music. So I come to many concerts. Audience இருக்கிறப்ப சரி ஓகே வந்து பாடுறாங்க சூப்பரா இருக்கு அப்படிதானே பார்த்துருக்கேனே தவிர I never realized so much amount of effort that goes into the backstage. And அவங்க eating habits, dietary habits எல்லாம் வந்து they just take whatever is available on that particular night. எனக்கே என்னடா அது இவ்வளோ கஷ்டப்படுறாங்களே அப்படின்னு எனக்கு தோணுச்சு. So coming back to the question, that so to start with, the career itself is at a risk factor for some gut related problems. So it is very important. And எனக்கு தெரிஞ்சு எனக்கு பெருசா தெரியாது, ஆனா 2-3 பேர் மியூசிக்ல பெரிய ஆளா இருக்கிறவங்க எல்லாருக்குமே gut related issues இருக்கு. And there has to be some kind of common thing, which is definitely they're disrupting the circadian rhythm by eating late at night at multiple times, which they don't have any control over. And they also traveling to US. இன்னைக்கு யூஎஸ்ல இருக்காங்க, நாளைக்கு லண்டன்ல இருக்காங்க, அதுக்கப்புறம் சிங்கப்பூர்ல இருக்காங்க, அப்புறம் திருப்பி சென்னையில போய் கான்சென்ட் பண்றாங்க. And all the circadian rhythm definitely have some kind of impact on the gut issues. Coming back to the reflux, one of the most common problem, we say that it is called singer's throat. It's extremely common because in the vocal cords, vocal nodule, you're putting so much strain, and you're so blessed to have such a beautiful voice. In terms of your vocal cord has been designed in such a way to provide that beautiful voice. The problem comes is when you keep straining it. I mean, when you are performing at a high note, low note, frequency as well, it is slightly inflamed. அதாவது கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சமா வந்து ஒரு எனக்கு கொஞ்சம் ரெஸ்ட் கொடுங்க அப்படின்ட்டு கேட்க ஆரம்பிக்கும். But when we don't listen to it, what happens is there is acid that is being produced here in the stomach, and there is a sphincter muscle right here. So whatever you eat, if let's say காலையில இட்லி சாப்பிடுறீங்க அப்படின்னா இட்லி சாப்பிட்டதுக்கு அப்புறம் it goes inside the stomach, and this sphincter muscle is supposed to close. Close ஆனதுக்கு அப்புறம் அந்த acid secreted by the stomach to digest the idli will not come up. So acid will just focus on the idli alone. But what happens is, in due course of time, because of lifestyle changes and everything, this thing is like wide open, like Niagara Falls.
You
So
mean the sphincter?
sphincter muscle. Sphincter muscle is wide open. It loses that power. It's basically, I always say that, it is like a teenager leaving the house and losing the control over the parents. அந்த parental control வந்து போனதுக்கு அப்புறம் it just there is no way to stop the acid reflux at all. The acid reflux is going to come back. The problem with singers is this acid reflux goes all the way to the back of the throat, and it irritates the already irritated vocal nodule. This is like my wife being irritated by my kids to start with, and when I come home late, and that adds to the irritation on the top of it.
We hear this program now.
So, so then what happens is, then it is just like a win-win situation for the acid. It is having a party in your esophagus. It's a common thing. We see this all the time, Sudhaji. I think it is a problem, and but it can be easily manageable with some kind of lifestyle changes.
See, but we never heard of this term itself earlier. When my guru ML Yama used to sing, she
Ah.
reigned supreme for 50 years, 40 years. And if she fell sick, it was with some other ailment, not acid reflux. இப்பதான் ரீசெண்டா ஒரு 10 வருஷமா I think this terminology has come into vogue, and of late, since the last 2-3 years, I have a lot of people coming and asking me because they knew I was had a phase of this.
மேம், ஐ
So
திங்க் அந்த முன்னாடி 10-15 இயர்ஸ்க்கு முன்னாடிலாம் இந்த அளவுக்கு பிஸியா இருந்திருப்பாங்களான்னு தெரியல, சுதாஜி.
no, they were busy. They were busy.
ஓ, இன்ஃபேக்ட் டயட்ரி ஹேபிட்ஸ் இதே மாதிரி தான் இருந்திருக்குமா?
Yes, they were not conscious really of what they ate, and of course, after a concert, it's about almost close to 9 p.m.
I see.
And they would eat, and then immediately after some maybe beetle leaves or something, they'd just go to sleep.
I see.
So in the awareness as such, sleep with your head lifted up, or raise your, the headboard.
Correct.
அதெல்லாம் வந்து இப்பதான் சமீபமா I hear it for the last probably half a dozen years.
Yeah. I think the treatment options also, has been advanced in the last like 10-15 years as well. The one thing I'm if any singing aspirants are watching this channel, one thing for sure is அந்த கான்சர்ட் முடிச்சிட்டு நைட்டு சாப்பிட்றத வந்து கண்டிப்பா அவாய்ட் பண்ணும். Unfortunately there's no other go. Either you eat before and then just make it very light after the concert, because you need 2 to 3 hours of the acid to be digested in the stomach before you go to bed. இல்லாட்டி என்ன ஆகும் அப்படின்னா, இப்படி இருக்கு, நீங்க you're standing up, so the acid is like right in the stomach. But when you're lying down, because the sphincter muscle is wide open already, acid just like flows over as if there is no tomorrow. And that's why they say elevating the head end of the bed will create the gravity that is needed for the acid to be stayed in the stomach.
So you talked about eating healthy and how the gut responds to food and all of that. But what is healthy really? People go overboard, I feel sometimes, with thinking that there is a shortcut to get quick results. Be it dieting, fiber conscious products, protein, green teas, ready-made mixes available off the shelf. So இவ்வளவு options இருக்கறச்சே, where and how do you draw the line between healthy food and not so healthy?
Yeah, in the last, all this healthy obesity kind of like happened in the last 20 years. And then in the last 20 years, if you look at it, what really changed was the easy availability of food with a lot of processing involved. I think that is what the bottom line is. So with this current environment, it is very difficult to say, don't eat this, don't eat that. I don't think that will work. I think what I promote in my videos is mainly moderation. So you really have to, let's say you have a milkshake in McDonald's. I'm not saying don't have it, but you just need to be conscious of what you're having and just split into half, or maybe if you have 3 people, split among yourselves. That is the number one thing we need to slowly inculcate in the mindset, and then that slowly will be imbibed into your practice as well. The second thing is I always say three rules. The first is avoiding all this or splitting into half. The second thing is you need to add at least one fruit every meal. It is absolutely critical. Any kind
Every
of
meal.
fruit, whatever you like.
Every
Um,
meal.
every meal. That's what I would do. If there is no medical contraindication, let's say you're diabetic இருக்கீங்க, நீங்க pre-diabetes இருக்கீங்கன்னா, you need to be a little bit careful on the sugar spiking fruits. But in general, strawberries, raspberry, blueberry, guava, all these are like low glycemic index fruits. So I try to take fruit in every meal, including breakfast. Breakfast வந்து நிறைய பேர் வந்து நம்ம பழம் சாப்பிட மாட்டோம். So that is number two. Number three is I try to include fermented food at least once a day, minimum once a day. If you can include 3 times a day in all your meals, that's even better. The reason for all these three is these three factors are the ones which is going to help your gut bacteria grow and will promote good gut health, which will in turn save from all diseases down the road. So that is what the high level angle is.
So when you say fermented food, can you just give us a few examples?
மேம் நம்ம தமிழ்நாட்டில் இல்லாத ஃபெர்மெண்டபிள் இல்லாமல் தோசை இட்லி நிறைய பேர் கேட்குறாங்க தோசை இட்லிலாம் வந்து நம்ம ஹீட் பண்ணுறதுக்கு அப்புறம் பாக்டீரியாலாம் போயிருமே அப்படின்ட்டு தட் இஸ் நாட் ட்ரூ. ஏன்னா அந்த பாக்டீரியா வந்து இட் ரிலீசஸ் சம்திங் கால் SCFA, ஷார்ட் செயின் ஃபேட்டி ஆசிட்ஸ் அப்படின்ட்டு. அந்த ஷார்ட் செயின் ஃபேட்டி ஆசிட்ஸ் தான் வந்து நம்மளோட குட் கட் பாக்டீரியா வந்து ப்ரொமோட் பண்ணுது. அந்த SCFA வந்து ரிலீஸ் பண்ணதுக்கு அப்புறம் தான் அந்த பாக்டீரியா வந்து செத்து போகுது ஆஃப் த ஹீட்டிங். ஸோ அது வந்து ஒரு அந்த பாக்டீரியா ஒரு கர்ணன் மாதிரி நம்ம கொடுத்ததுக்கு அப்புறம் தான் வந்து இறந்து போகுது. So we call it as postbiotic. So it's not a prebiotic, it's a postbiotic. It has given the bacteria SCFA already, and when you ingest it, it goes inside the gut. So idli, dosa, tair is one of the main thing, especially homemade. Packet made curd in Chennai vikidilla. Packet made curd is not bad at all. Packet made not bad at all. The only difference is when we are making curd at home, நீங்க நிறைய பாக்டீரியா வந்து உள்ள வரும் பிகாஸ் ஆஃப் யுவர் ஹேண்ட்லிங் ஆஃப் யுவர் ஹேண்ட்ஸ் அண்ட் கான்டாக்ட் அண்ட் எவ்ரிதிங். ஸோ சீக்கிரம் கெட்டு போயிடும், புளிச்சு போயிடும். சீக்கிரம் புளிச்சு போயிடும் ஒழுங்கா ப்ரிசர்வ் பண்ணலாம். பேக்கெட் தயிர்ல வந்து ஒன்லி லாக்டோபெசிலஸ் மட்டும் ப்ரிசர்வ் பண்ணுவாங்க. ஏதா பிகாஸ் ஆர் ஏபிள் டு ஐசோலேட் த லாக்டோபெசிலஸ் அண்ட் தென் க்ரோ தட் பர்டிகுலர் அமௌண்ட் ஆஃப் பாக்டீரியா அலோன். ஸோ அதனால தி ஹாஃப் லைஃப் இஸ் ஸ்லைட்லி லாங்கர். ஸோ அதனால அவ்வளோவா புளிச்சு போகாது. ஸோ பேக்கெட் கர்டு, வெறும் தயிர், அப்புறம் நீங்க நம்மளோட பழைய சாதம், anything that grows overnight where you let the bacteria grow is a sign of fermentation. So that's why என்னோட ஹாஸ்பிட்டல்ல பாத்தீங்கன்னா நான் வந்து I am actually still they might bring, I've been arguing that in the breakfast hospital cafeteria பாத்தீங்கன்னா it always will be like bread and toast with pancakes and everything. So I have added idli in the menu so that all the Indian patients can actually get idli. And in fact, my American patients actually, they love idli. They don't know how to make it, so I give the address of the restaurant who makes it. They go and get it.
Promotion where?
Promotion.
Okay, so you said the human body needs bacteria to perform its functions. And you also mentioned specific foods that contribute to the multiplying of the good and not so good. So what are the not so good? அதை மட்டும் கொஞ்சம் ஒரு சின்ன லிஸ்ட் கொடுத்துறீங்களா?
Habits.
So good bacteria.
Habits கேக்குறீங்களா?
Habits சொல்லுங்க. I mean, just very briefly, habits and the food that is
food. Okay, food. சரி. Food வந்து it's very easy, ma'am. இப்போ if you take a food and உங்க பாட்டி கொள்ளு பாட்டி கிட்ட நீங்க போறீங்க, காமிச்சிட்டு பாட்டி இது என்னன்னு தெரியுதா அப்படின்னு கேக்குறீங்க. அவங்களுக்கு அது என்னன்னு தெரிஞ்சிச்சு அப்படின்னா அது நல்ல ஃபுட். என்னடா இது, இதெல்லாம் நான் பார்த்ததே இல்லையே அப்படின்னா
பாஸ்தா,
அப்ப அது கட் பாக்டீரியாக்கு பிடிக்காது. நம்ம பாட்டி கொள்ளு தாத்தா சொல்றோம், நம்ம கட் பாக்டீரியா எல்லாம் வந்து அதையும் தாண்டி புனிதமானது மாதிரி இன்னும் they are much older than us. So they don't know about pizza, they don't know about pasta, they don't know about chips, they don't know about ice cream, they don't know about milkshake. So if your great grandmother doesn't recognize what you are eating, you are technically not supposed to eat, at least from a gut standpoint.
So is milk good or bad?
Milk.
When you are in a situation of acid reflux on the phase lip.
Milk it depends upon you, what is your goal, ma'am. I mean, what is your medical profile? Overall, general public milk is good because it has a good source of protein and it is a good source of carbs. இதுல என்ன பிரச்சனை அப்படின்னா சில பேருக்கு அந்த லாக்டேஸ்ங்கிற என்சைம் இருக்காது. ஸோ அதை டைஜஸ்ட் பண்ண முடியாது. ஸோ அதனாலதான் நீங்க எனி மில்க் அண்ட் மில்க் ரிலேட்டட் ப்ராடக்ட் நீங்க சாப்பிட்றப்ப உடனே வயிறு கும்முன்னு ஆயிரும், டயரியா போகும். நேற்று சாப்பிட்ட பிரியாணிம்பாங்க, அது பிரியாணி கிடையாது, அது ஐஸ்கிரீம் சாப்பிட்டு. So the lactase enzyme it was provided to us by God in abundance when we were first 2 years of age to digest the mother's milk. So
Yes.
Actually human physiology it is so beautifully done. I mean there is a reason that there is a supreme power where they have designed in such a way that there is always a reason behind everything. So when this lactase enzyme gets degraded slowly after 25-30 years of age, usually that lactose intolerance starts. That's milk bad or hypothesis. Milk it's an inflammatory, it's a pro-inflammatory. It can also cause a significant amount of health hazards. It is not proven. So we don't know. There might be some truth, there may be not. But in general, overall, especially for vegetarian, milk is a wonderful source of protein.
இப்போ ஒரு ஃபேஷனா இல்ல ஸ்டைலா தெரியல, பிளான்ட் பேஸ்ட் டயட் அப்படின்னு நிறைய people talk about it. What is your opinion about the benefits of how easy it might be to completely follow a plant based diet? Is there an age bracket for this?
There's no age bracket at all. And if given an option, I have all my family members, friends, patients, everybody on plant based. So I will choose something called plant forward and not plant based. Plant based and you're saying, okay, you're eating only plants, no animals at all. The non-vegetarians, they get really offended, like including me. Okay, எனக்கு பிடிச்ச fish என்னால சாப்பிட முடியல அப்படின்னா, then who are you to ask me not to eat fish? So we say plant forward. So you lean towards plant-based diet. You technically don't have to. There's no black or white. There's always a gray zone. So you could just play around with it based on what you're liking and what your environment is. But in general, from a research standpoint, it is very clear, without any doubt at all, that gut bacteria loves plants. And gut bacteria doesn't like animals that much. Maybe gut bacteria is very, very sympathetic to the animals. I don't know. Because it can maybe relate to it as well, because it is also dying and then producing as well, maybe. But plant-based has been clearly distinguished in multiple research studies that is the way to go for good gut bacteria. And we know now that good gut bacteria is the bottom line for all the diseases, you name it. So combining these two facts together, we recommend a plant forward diet.
So many children these days are very obese. Is it because they eat indulge in junk food, packaged food, high on sugar beverages? How do we get the discipline into the children, like without telling them that this is wrong to eat, and also give them good alternates that this is better for you? How can we gently bring it into the system?
Right. I always say that when the child is obese, the problem is not with the child, the problem is with the parent. Because usually child follows the parental lifestyle. And they observe so closely that you will be completely surprised in terms of what they can absorb from our own practices. If you sleep early and if you eat healthy, 95% of the time the kid is going to do the same thing. The problem is again the easy availability and the busy lifestyle, where the parents are forced to choose some ultra processed foods, which because buying healthy food is expensive, number one, and number two is also not easily available. So நீங்க இப்ப ஃபேமிலியோட ஒரு வெக்கேஷன் போறீங்க அப்படின்னா McDonald's and the Burger King and the KFC is very easily available. So let's say you find a salad shop, அது தேடி உள்ள போகணும், அது இருக்கா இல்லையானே கூட தெரியாது. So Then, of course, busy lifestyle, theme park on open up on Maniki, night at Manickam. So, most common thing is okay, let's go to KFC. And it is tasty as well. So, unless the parent also thinks that this is absolutely critical in my child's health, it is very, very important that both the parents, that's more important, both the parents should be on the same page to guide the kids' food eating habits. That's number one. And number two, if you take something, you cannot say don't eat this. அதான் பிரச்சனையே. இப்போ
Hmm.
நீங்க இப்போ ஓரியோ மில்க் ஷேக் ஒன்றும் பிடிக்குது அப்படின்னா ஓரியோ மில்க் ஷேக் சாப்பிடக்கூடாது அப்படின்னு சொன்னா அவன் இப்போ சாப்பிட மாட்டான், அவங்களோட ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ் வீட்டில் போய் சாப்பிடுவான். Right. So there is something called motivational interviewing. So you slowly let them know, okay, what are you milkshake? Okay, that's fine. If you want to eat it, but you know what it is contains and what is the risk involved. And preaching மாதிரி தான் initially இருக்கும். But repetitionலயே then they will understand that, oh, okay, so இவ்வளோ இருக்கா. So that's why I always teach my kids, okay, what is good food, what is bad food. Good touch, bad touch மாதிரி, good food, bad food also I teach them. And then they understand, and yes, my kids also eat chips. My kids also eat ice cream. But they eventually will make a conscious decision that, okay, so, but they know that when they are eating, they know that, okay, so they are indulging, and then they will compromise in something else. So that is the habit that we need to inculcate in our kids.
So, does exercise contribute to gut health, and does it also impact the right bacterial growth within, or is that a myth?
Exercise absolutely improves good gut bacteria, and that is what I do. So one mistake that I was pretty big before Sudhaji, I was like 100 kilos before. So I lost all
Really?
this. I was swimming pool
Wow.
குளிச்சா தண்ணி எல்லாம் வெளிய வந்துரும். அந்த அளவுக்கு நடந்தேன்.
How did you
So
get this, whatever,
um,
frame?
ஆமா this முன்னாடி உஸ்லம் பண்ணி வாழ்ந்த இப்போ ஒல்லி குச்சி மாதிரி ஆயிட்டு. அப்போ the reason that I mean I adopted fasting and all those things that helped me. But one of the most important mistake that I did was I did not do exercise during this weight loss.
Hmm.
So Adanala, what happened was I lost all my muscle mass as well. So that's why I look very lean and skinny. So now I'm doing this 100-day Gutman challenge. I'm promoting exercise to all my followers to a point that you should do at least minimum of some kind of exercise every day, because there's multiple research that is showing that exercise itself produces the same amount of SCFA, short chain fatty acids, with a good bacteria. There is something called Prevacid. And the kind of bacteria it is being improved and increased in production when you do exercise regardless of the diet. So let's say you do pizza, pasta, and then you do exercise. Yes, that is bad. The gut bacteria doesn't grow that much, but at least there'll be slight benefits if you do exercise. So it doesn't mean that you eat pizza and pasta and you run for 1 mile. That is not the case. You
Yes.
need to decrease this and increase this, and it is well proven without doubt that exercise improves the gut bacteria regardless of the diet.
So, I'm in the process of doing some research on music and healing. So, hence the question: does the gut also listen to musical tones? And have any of your patients asked you this, or benefited by music, listening to music, or you know?
So, it's a very interesting question. I have this patient who had irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவோம், which means that they have abdominal pain. Their stomach is extremely sensitive. Their gut is very sensitive. Um, and what I said, we know that there is a connection between the brain and the gut using a connection called brain-gut axis. It's like a nerve supply. It goes from here to here and from here to here. It's like a flight journey, Delhi to Madurai, Madurai to Delhi, Madurai. It needs to go repeatedly. இப்போ என்ன ஆகுது அப்படின்னா, இப்போ டெல்லியில இருந்து பாம்பே போயிட்டு அதுக்கப்புறம் மதுரைக்கு வருது. அதான் பிரச்சனை. Because we don't respect the rhythm. So in the brain gut axis it gets disturbed in IBS. So what we used to say that, okay, பண்ணி any stress will aggravate it. If you have lack of sleep, that will aggravate it. So I told that patient that we tried everything. And the other thing is very difficult to treat disease. So I told that patient, நீ என்ன வேணாலும் பண்ணு, but I think your stress factor is so much. So why don't you choose a hobby that you like? அப்படின்ட்டு சொல்லி, then he said he played guitar like while he was young. இது வந்து ஒரு அமெரிக்கன் பேஷண்ட். So then he said, then he took the guitar, dusted the guitar which was in the garage, and then he joined a band. And then that's it. I didn't see the patient at all for like 3, 6 months, even a year. I didn't see the patient at all.
Mm.
He came back a year after because there was a follow-up appointment that was made by my office. And then I said, so how's your abdominal pain? He said, abdominal pain is completely gone. It's completely gone. And then the reason that he was saying was because I was involved in this music thing again. I was able to, for some reason, the symptoms were decreased, and I was able to control my brain gate axis much better than what it was. So that made me think that this brain gate axis is so sensitive to all the kind of intervention that we do, and music is, I think, one of the bottom line thing that has been very, very underrated. And to add it, if you, I don't know whether you know this, in our hospitals in US, so we have a keyboard right as you walk into the hospital, and all the patient's family, friends, they can write their name on the roster, and they will be given the time for like 10, 15 minutes to play their favorite music on the keyboard.
Great.
And also, there is a person who plays, I think it's guitar or something, some other instrument, who comes to the patient's room and plays that instrument on them. And multiple research studies also shown that, like music definitely plays a role. And especially இப்போ எனக்கே எடுத்துட்டீங்கன்னா, my go-to stress reliever is to listen to music, especially வந்து like இளையராஜா சார் மியூசிக் கேட்டா எனக்கு வந்து it relieves my stress. So there is something that related to it. The most common problem is the cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone, and which is extremely high in all of us. And any way that we can decrease the cortisol level is good for our body. And I think music plays a major role in that. I can see and tell from my personal experience and also from my experience of my patients. So people
Mhm.
listening to you, if you have not listened to music or not exposed to music so far, maybe time to look into it.
Now, since you said you love Ilayaraja sir's music, usually when we meet a person, a guest, or the guest comes into the house, we ஒரு பொன்னாடை போத்துவோம், இல்ல we give them flowers or give them sweets, whatever. So here, since we on online, I can only give you music, and here it is for you. Janani, Janani. This is what happens when I have a concert the previous day, and if it's a strenuous environment in which I sing, then the next day is like I keep clearing my throat. So maybe I should ask this question before I even sing. Why
That's
does it happen?
Ma'am, that's because under the clearing the throat is called hawking, ma'am. Hawking.
Okay, what is it?
Hawking. And that happens because your vocal cords are inflamed.
Okay.
So you need rest. Maybe we should postpone this interview tomorrow.
இல்ல இல்ல கிடைக்கிறதே பெரிய விஷயம். என்ன வருது பாப்போம். ஜனனி ஜனனி ஜகம்னி அகம்னி ஜனனி ஜனனி ஜகம்னி அகம்னி ஜகத்காரணினி பரிபூரணினி ஜகத்காரணினி பரிபூரணினி ஜகத்காரணினி பரிபூரணினி ஜனனி 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 ஜனனி. பாட ஆரம்பிச்ச உடனே it stops, but
Yeah.
till you start to sing or speak, it's like nagging feeling. Oh, maybe I won't be able to say the next word. Do you think it's with the mind? It's a mind game, or is it really because?
No. I think. Have you had a endoscopy before ever?
Yes, I have.
If you look at the report, this will not be reported very clearly that there is an LES னு ஒன்று இருக்கும். And LES வந்து எவ்வளவு ஸ்ட்ராங்கா இருக்கு அப்படின்னு கண்டுபிடிச்சிருவாங்க. I'm pretty sure yours is slightly weak. Slightly weak. And I mean, by the way, wonderful, wonderful rendition. எனக்கு ஒண்ணே ஒண்ணு தான் தெரியும். அதுவும் எனக்கு வந்து
LES
கர்நாடக
சொல்லுங்க. LES என்னன்னு சொல்லுங்க before you ask me the next question.
LES தான் மேம் அந்த lower esophageal sphincter நான் சொன்னேன்ல. Lower
Ah, yes.
esophageal sphincter. That's called LES. Lower esophageal sphincter. So இப்போ என்னோட இந்தியன் பேஷண்ட்ஸ் எல்லாருக்குமே there is some kind of acid reflux mainly because their waist circumference is slightly higher. So usually I ask them to take an inch tape measure around the belly button, and if it is more than 100 centimeters, then what happens is because of this pull, it is pulling down the LES down. So when it is
Right.
pulling LES down, the sphincter is not able to close. So I've seen many people who lost weight, get the belly fat in, LES goes up, the sphincter muscle function can come back a little bit as well. So அந்த மாதிரி இருக்கிறப்ப the acid just flows freely into it. So நீங்க இங்க the hawkingறது வந்து you have heartburn symptoms plus you also strain your vocal cord during your concert, which is your profession. So அதனால it's a double whammy. So usually what we do is we give medications to decrease the inflammation first. And also there are surgeries, ma'am. I mean, surgeries சொன்னோன்னா பயமா இருக்கும், but it's a very, very simple procedure where they put a small ring, ma'am. ஒரே ஒரு small ring வந்து இங்க போட்டுருவாங்க. அந்த ரிங்கை போட்டா basically வந்து ஒரு கயிறை வச்சு கட்டுற மாதிரி. And then you don't get the thing back. And if your symptoms get better, they will remove the ring like a couple of years after. So அந்த மாதிரிலாம் இருக்கு. So usually when a patient comes to me like this, we usually evaluate how bad is the sphincter muscle, and on the scale of 1 to 10, if it is 10 out of 10, then probably it is not being controlled by medications. We recommend surgery. And if it is like 1 out of 10, 5 out of 10, then we can change some lifestyle changes, medication, and then see how we go.
No, also when you spoke about it, I remember that I ate at 9 o'clock, and after the concert yesterday. And I'm just trying to, visualize or kind of see into why this happens on the next day after the concert. I mean, I'm just a sample. There might be many hundreds of
Of course,
musicians feeling this and not being able to express it or ask the question.
Of course. So let's say, ma'am, I'll tell you, let's go to the timeline. Okay. So let's say that your concert starts at 6 p.m. And people watching my channel, they know that our eating hormones die down around 6 p.m., 7 p.m. It follows the sunrise to sunset circadian rhythm. There's a reason that is we were born respecting the sunlight. And what happens is by the time 9 p.m. is happening, all your digestive hormones is going to rest already. And but you are hungry because you didn't have dinner at that time. So you are eating at 9:30. So then all your digestive hormones are waking up, digesting that dinner, and it takes 3 hours.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
So 12 மணிக்கு தான் வந்து it goes down. And then your sleeping hormone comes in, right? So, but you wake up in the morning around 6 a.m., 7 a.m. So there is no 12-hour rest that the hormones needs. And that is the problem. And that is the underlying problem. And if you keep repeating this, then it's an abuse over abuse over abuse to a point that it will not do it.
No, but what if I finished the concert and didn't eat anything? Does that also affect the gut?
Finish the concert? Actually, it might help. It might help. After finishing the concert. But the key thing is you need to have a good protein dinner before the concert. I think that is what people should do, especially people who are in the singing industry. Big time late night eating needs to be re-evaluated. I still see Sacramento Tamil Association இவங்க வந்திருந்தாங்க, எல்லாம் வந்திருந்தாங்க, சித்ரா மேம் வந்திருந்தாங்க. Wonderful concert. Okay. And I was at the backstage because I was, meeting them and everything. Because now I'm able to meet many people. The time that all the troupe was eating was like 11:30.
My.
11:30, and nothing to blame them at all. That is when the concert got over, and it started at 7:30. So I think I don't know how to control it, but at least it's little bit of awareness. கொஞ்சம் mindful-ஆ இருந்தோம்னா, at least we can decrease the effects a little bit.
I think if each individual, thought about it seriously, try to bring in a change.
For example, organizer is watching this show right now. An organizer can say that, okay, we're not going to give you food at 11:30. It's okay. So this is what it is. So you take a break in between, you eat, and then you come. ஏன்னா continuous பாடுறது so they're just taking. So but the point is they don't think about it, and then it is a routine, which is the problem.
So for a wholesome meal, Dr. Pal, can you tell us what, like you go out to eat, so what should be the safest starter or safest main course,
Um,
safest dessert?
ma'am, I always recommend fiber, ma'am. Fiber then I promote because that keeps you full and you don't eat more. So அதனால எங்க போனாலும் look for fruits and vegetables first. இங்க எப்படி இந்த மீல்ல எவ்வளவு வெஜிடபிள்ஸ் இருக்கு, இந்த மீல்ல எவ்வளவு ஃப்ரூட்ஸ் இருக்கு, எப்படி வந்து இதை நான் வந்து ஆட் பண்ணலாம், மெனு கார்டை பாக்குறீங்க. ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் அப்படைசர்ல வந்து யூ ஹேவ் கிரில்டு பன்னீர் அப்படின்னா ஓகே, தட்ஸ் அ ப்ரோட்டீன் சோர்ஸ், ஸோ தட்ஸ் குட். ஓகே, பட் வாட் இஸ் த பிளான்ட் பாயிண்ட்? ஸோ there is a concept called plant point. So I recommend my patients to get at least 5 plant points per day, and that 5 plant points could be nuts, seeds, legumes, fruits, vegetables. எல்லாமே வந்து consists of plant point. So let's say that they have a snack with the salted peanuts. So then you should take that as an appetizer. So it depends upon the menu in terms of, you should see how we can get that plant points through this menu. So let's say that includes buying and bartha அப்படின்னா that's a plan point. And of course restaurant meal will be like really oily and everything, so you can decrease that in moderation. Usually I start I think with a salad, and a salad one usually people don't prefer. யாரா இலையும் தலையுமா சாப்பிட்டு இருக்குது அப்படின்னு, you to create that mindset பண்ணீங்கன்னா you absolutely love salad. Americans all love salad, just not that because it is leafy greens. They have created a mindset and a taste for it, and it is not that bad at all. நானுமே ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஸ்டார்டிங் பண்றப்ப என்னடா இதெல்லாம் போய் சாப்பிட்டு இருக்கோம்லாம் தோணுச்சு. பட் கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சமா நம்ம சாப்பிட ஆரம்பிக்கிறப்ப then it's really good. And then also you will not eat that oily deep fried items that much. So another mindset change is needed. அப்புறமா appetizer பாத்தீங்கன்னா protein is very important. We always say 1 gram per kilogram per day. So if you are weighing like 70 kilos, you need to 70 grams of protein. So vegetarian இருந்தீங்கன்னா tofu, soya, paneer, tempeh, இதெல்லாம் வந்து sources of protein. So entree வந்து has to be protein. More importantly, dessert வந்து when you're going out, it needs to be split. 5 பேர் போனீங்கன்னா 5 டெசர்ட் வாங்கக்கூடாது. ஒரே டெசர்ட் வாங்கி அப்படியே 5ஆ பிரிச்சீங்கன்னா it will be very good on your wallet.
சாப்பிட்ட மாதிரியே இருக்காது இது.
இந்த பிளான் பாயிண்ட்ஸ் ஆட் பண்ணீங்கன்னா சாப்பிட்ட மாதிரி இருக்கும்.
Okay. Taken. Tell us more about your all-time companion Sharavana Kumar and patient Arogya Sami. How did these characters originate?
So இது வந்து I'm going to leave Saravana Kumar to the imagination of the audience in terms of whether he is real or fictional. I'm just going to leave it, but there is truth on both sides to it. So this is something I learned in the stand-up comedy world, where when you deliver a joke, it comes well when you refer to somebody else. Oh, என் சித்தப்பா அப்படி பண்ணாரு, ஓ என் பெரியப்பா அப்படி பண்ணாரு, எங்க அம்மா நைட் எப்படின்னு என்ன சொன்னாங்க தெரியுமா அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க எல்லாரும். I'm a big fan of Alex. வந்து அலெக்ஸ்னாலதான் I even imagine that, oh okay, so மியூசிக்கையும் காமெடியையும் பண்றப்ப அப்ப ஹெல்த்தையும் காமெடியும் ஏன் பண்ணக்கூடாது அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு கான்செப்டே அவர் மூலமா தான் வந்து எனக்கு தெரிஞ்சிச்சு. ஸோ அவர்லாம் எப்ப பார்த்தாலும் என் ஃப்ரெண்ட் இருக்கா பாத்தியா, அவர் இப்படிதான் பண்ணுவார் அப்படின்ட்டு. So that's how I created this. Okay, Saravana Kumar, Tirupura Sundariயோட தங்கச்சி பேர் வந்து சொப்பன சுந்தரி. Tirupura Sundariயோட ex boyfriend வந்து ஆரோக்கிய சாமி, and that is my patient. அப்புறம் எனக்கு யூஎஸ் ஒரு ஆள் வேணும் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு I introduced Mark Anthony. And then நார்த் இந்தியன் ஒரு ஆள் வேணும் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி அபிஜித் சக்கரவர்த்தி. அப்படின்னு சொல்லி I play around with my characters.
Interesting. So can you tell us a little about Vanna Malargal and the Aishwaryam Trust that you are a part of?
Oh yeah. Thank you for asking the question. So I always believe that இந்தியால வந்து ஹாஸ்பிஸ் கேர் வந்து கிடையாது மேம். ஹாஸ்பிஸ்ங்கிறது வந்து when you support a patient with a diagnosis of cancer or a neurological problem but they don't live for more than 6 months. அமெரிக்கால பாத்தீங்கன்னா அவங்கள வந்து ராஜா ராணி மாதிரி பாத்துக்குவாங்க. ஏன்னா government spends so much money into the Medicare system that they will not feel any pain at all, the patient and the family. அந்த அளவுக்கு பாத்துக்குவாங்க. ஸோ ஆனா இந்தியால வந்து ரெண்டு ப்ராப்ளம். ஒன்னு, மணி இஸ் அ ப்ராப்ளம். ரெண்டாவது, ஈவன் தோ தே ஹாவ் மணி, தே வில் நாட் ஹாவ் த மேன் பவர் டு டேக் கேர் ஆஃப் தீஸ் patients 24/7, because they will not be able to use the bathroom, they will not be able to walk, they will not be able to talk, somebody needs to feed them. So it was a long standing problem I saw initially. So என்னோட ஜூனியர்ஸ் எல்லாம் வந்து சேர்ந்து they started this ஐஸ்வர்யம் ட்ரஸ்ட் அப்படின்ட்டு மதுரையில். So where we have like a 50-bed hospital, full blown nursing home, 24/7. We give free food, free medications, free clinical care. Doctors வந்து பார்ப்பாங்க 50 patient every day, and if there is any problem they take care of it. We have an ambulance. So the patient joins our family and leaves our family only after they die. So it is a or long standing or a close to heart thing that we are been doing. Luckily before the YouTube social media வந்து வரதுக்கு முன்னாடி it takes like 8 to 10 lakhs per month to run. டொனேஷன்ஸ்லாம் வரும், மிச்சம் உள்ளதை வந்து நாங்க கையில இருந்து போடுவோம். இப்போ all my followers are trusting me, so they're donating to them, to the trust directly. So now I'm so happy to tell you that we have funds to actually open up a new 50-bed hospital for cancer patients in Madurai. We are opening up pretty soon. So thank you so much for all the support over here.
God bless you and your friends, Doc, for this wonderful initiative, really.
Yes, thank you.
So,
Thank you.
and thank you for your patience for having answered all these questions and explained in detail. நீங்க ஏதாவது கேட்கணும்னு விரும்புறீங்களா? You started asking me something and I cut it short. I remember.
Oh, இல்ல ma'am. In the I was about to say the Janani பாட்டுல வந்து that's the only thing that I know in Carnatic music is there is the Kalyani ராகால வந்து அந்த ஜனனி வரும் அப்படின்ட்டு வந்து எனக்கு வந்து அது தெரியும். So you encourage, how do you encourage kids to get more interest in Carnatic music? What do people do usually?
Yeah, usually every raga has a structure. And the structure is, how do you show the structure is by the arohanam, avarohanam. It's like going up the staircase, coming down the staircase. That is what is the the swarupa of the raga. Cholanonna. So what we teach them the arohanam, avarohanam, and we say that when it rings a familiar bell, any song that you hear, this is the name of the raga. That is one way of teaching them that. The other is connecting to music from cinema. So listening to Janani, this is Kalyani. So in the ragam ulla shades ulla paata vandu nee kekkiruchu, it's Kalyani. So now if it is Purvi Kalyani, what is the change? How does it deviate from Kalyani? You show them the swaras. So it's quite a complex
yes, of course.
I mean, not so easy, but the easy to connect cinema to music, Carnatic music.
Of course.
And over ragamu, over paatu, mannavan vandarani in the ragam. அந்த மாதிரி சின்ன சின்ன ஆசை. So you can find out the name of the raga of that particular song and then keep it in your mind, and then just like good bacteria response. ஒரு பாட்டு கேட்டோம், அந்த பாட்டு மாதிரி இருக்கே அப்படின்னு you will connect and say, oh, this is Kannada, this is Kalyani, this is Sahana, அந்த மாதிரி.
So there's a podcast that we did with Alexa and Babu. It's coming up. It's coming up next week.
Oh, I love it.
ஆமா, அதுல வந்து I gave him situations. Okay, இதான் good gut bacteria, இதான் bad gut bacteria. Okay, இதான் situation. நீங்க வந்து இத பத்தி ஒரு பாட்டு பாடணும். ஏன்னா வந்து
oh my god,
bad gut bacteria வந்து good gut bacteria அழிச்சிட்டு வந்து அந்த அண்ணாமலையில வந்து சரத் பாபு வந்து அப்படியே மேல போற மாதிரி வந்து இருக்கான் அப்படின்ட்டு.
அப்ப நீங்க வந்து கல்யாணி இவ்வளவு பிடிச்சிருக்கறச்சி ஒரு கேரக்டர் கல்யாணி கிரியேட் பண்ண வேண்டாமா நீங்க?
So he sang the song அடே நண்பா உன்னை வெல்வேன் அப்படின்ட்டு. So good gut bacteria வந்து பாடலாமா?
அப்ப good gut bacteria க்கு வந்து ஸ்ருதியோட பாடணும், தாளத்தோட பாடணும்.
Exactly. And one more thing I want to tell you is all the circadian rhythm I talked about, right? So the hormones secreting at the right time with the right that is one of the best orchestrated rhythm that you would ever get in your body, which will be never reciprocated anywhere else. And it is a perfect example of how music and harmony is there in our body right from when we were born. It's a wonderful example. So when we start abusing that rhythm, that is where we get into the problem.
Right. So இவ்வளோ நேரம் வந்து நீங்க லாங் கொஸ்டின்ஸ்க்கு லாங் ஆன்சர்ஸ் கொடுத்தீங்க. ஐ மீன் இல்ல நான் என்னையே சொல்லிட்டேன் லாங் கொஸ்டின்ஸ்.
ரொம்ப டூ மச்சா பேசிருக்கேன் நீ. 2 மார்க் கொஸ்டினுக்கு எதுக்கு 20 மார்க் ஆன்சர் பண்றீங்க?
So இப்போ வந்து ஃபயரிங் ரேஞ்சுன்னு இதுக்கு பேரு. Okay, so you can be as short as possible, but the question will remain long. Okay, hardcore consultant in serious hospital rooms or easygoing chats on social media, which gets the best from you?
A hardcore consultant with a social media fun at the end is the best way. That is the best character of me. I think everybody has it their own, but my strength is that.
Smart answer. Which is your most favorite vacation spot? The sea, the mountain, or historic places?
Oh, beach.
Beach.
நம்ம சிவகுமார் பாடுற மாதிரி பீச்ல உட்கார்ந்துட்டு.
You have to find the high rock for that.
Yeah.
The best compliment that you received from your fans who watched your social media presentations?
Best, I get very emotional whenever I hear this. ஒரு மலேசியால வந்து we did a Manickam show. அப்போ வந்து people were standing in line to get pictures from me. So I used to take pictures and everything. So அப்போ வந்து ஒரு அம்மா she said, I'm a hardcore fan, Malaysia fan. I lost 10-15 pounds because of you. I am 50 years old. I know you're only 40. But you've changed my life so much. அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு there were like 500 people in the audience and she fell on my feet.
Oh my.
எனக்கு I mean that little moment actually அப்பதான் எனக்கே தெரிஞ்சிச்சு ஓ நம்ம சாக்ரமெண்டோல இருந்து ஒரு உட்கார்ந்து ஒரு வீடியோ பண்றது இவ்வளவு பேர் இம்பாக்ட் பண்றது வந்து that was a very very truthful moment which actually made me do more of this, which my wife doesn't like that much.
Because her time is taken. Yes. So your best guest on your show of gut feeling?
Oh, Venkatesh Bhatt. No, I mean the podcast that we did was absolutely fun with information and the comedy, humor, yella super.
Well, he also laces in a lot of humor.
Wonderful.
What is actual family time for you? What does it mean? Playing games, playing board games, or listening to music?
My family time, I absolutely love spending time with my kids and my wife. And எங்களோட மேஜர் டைம் வந்து அந்த லாஸ்ட் ஒரு half an hour when we as a family we put the kids to sleep. அப்போ வந்து we tell stories, we make up stories back and forth, me and Priya, to the kids. அது வந்து I don't think it can be comparable to anything else. But we make sure that it happens at least very focused, no phones, nothing. We completely get only on the kids. அது வந்து I wish I have more of that.
So on a day filled with stress, probably not many days உங்களுக்கு, because you always add humor to your life. Okay, on a day filled with stress, how do you de-stress?
I'm going to show you my Spotify playlist.
Am I on it?
So this is what look at this. This is what my playlist is. Raja Rules 90s. So this is what my favorite playlist is. I just listen to it whenever I just don't focus on anything else. I listen to it. This is my stress buster.
Beautiful. What is fulfillment to you? What does it mean?
Fulfillment after coming to social media, I'm thinking that life can be even more meaningful. I think before social media, I don't think I had a meaning in my life. I think I was just as any other person. I mean, not any other super solo. Most of them, where we were just running after, career, money, family, my wife, my kids, my எப்படி செட்டில் ஆகுறது அப்படிதான் நான் பார்த்துட்டே இருந்தேனே தவிர I didn't look into the bigger picture. Then after coming to social media, after seeing all these things, now I'm realizing that okay, we don't want this much anymore of the time and money. And I think it is time to everybody to stay back and then see, okay, what can we give back to the community? And that is the real fulfillment.
Lovely. What brings you to India each time?
It's a wonderful question. I always thought, if let's say that let's say that somebody says that, oh, update dignity health, gastroenterology. I mean, I shouldn't say that. So let me put it this way. So let's say that I want to go back to India right away for some reason. Abrina, I will do it right away because I don't have the roots over here. I'm not able to connect over here. I'm always connected to India. அதனால தான் இப்போ என்னோட இந்தியன் என்னோட யூடியூப்ல பார்த்தீங்கன்னா always there is an Indian comical jokes. Always Indian இதான். என்னால இந்த பீட்சா பாஸ்தா இந்த மார்டினி இதெல்லாம் வச்சு நான் வீடியோ பண்ணலாம். ஏன்னா என்னால அது I'm not able to relate to it. And also when there is a patient in my list who's an Indian, I feel very happy. For some reason there's a connection, and எனக்கு அந்த connection வந்து India தான். So that's why it brings back to me India. We make sure that we go to India once a year if given an option. I mean, if everything lines up, we would not mind relocating to India as well.
What an honest answer, really, doctor.
Yeah.
What are your cravings? It need not be food.
Oh, என் cravings வந்து the coffee, ice cream. You asking about food?
இல்ல, it need not be food. ஆனா food சொல்லிட்டீங்க, பரவாயில்ல. அது coffee and ice cream.
Coffee, ice cream. And then craving is what is the other craving you're talking about? The
craving now a gastroenterologist இருக்கேன். Suppose I was not this.
I want to do what Alex is doing. I'm trying to do like a low budget Alex மாதிரி தான் இப்ப இருக்கேன் நான். I mean, I think
low budget. Just I think you're good as you are.
I mean, nobody can compete with him. I mean, nobody can even match him. But I'm doing something what he's doing. So now I do shows now. I have a 90-minute show in English where I go to places, I do crowd work, I have my delivery, I have my script ready, and I'm combining all the circadian rhythm. What have we talked about in between with for the 90?
Low budget சொல்றீங்களே. என்னோட fridgeல வந்து there is a magnet which says you are special.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
There is no one else like you.
Yes.
I make that every single day I'm home, and it makes me
of course. I mean, I'm just reflecting on the inspiration that I'm getting from them. Hopefully,
so many people. You are inspiring so many people.
Yeah, really. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
So I think we've come to the end of the conversation. Thank you so much for taking us through an interesting session on health benefits with a lot of humor, and I'm sure you've clarified doubts that are surfacing in the minds of our viewers. While there is so much buzz in the air when it comes to health and fitness, you have given us insights on moderation, on balance, on how to maintain that state of equilibrium. So, in a manner where we think, okay, I'm not so bad, really. I can balance my diet a little more, as Dr. Pal says. It is doable, Ramari. But then when you talk to some doctors, it's so technical, and the hyphen words that they use, and it scares you sometimes and says, I will never be able to do what he says. But ninga pesirche, it's like doable. Yes, I will be able to do it if I just bring in a little change in my diet and in my mind. So it has been an immense learning for me as well. Wishing you all the very best, to you, to Aishwaryam, to your family, in all the next steps and endeavors. And of course, thank you for your very, very precious time.
Oh, thank you, Sudhani. Thank you so much. My one request is, please keep doing what you're doing even more, because we need you. We need your music. And I have a strong feeling that right now, the brain get access has been disturbed for so many people because of so many things that is happening. Hope your music and the music of everybody else cools down and makes everybody choose music as one of the stress buster.
Thank you, Dr. Pal. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Wasn't that an action-packed hour? We still don't have enough. So many myths have been busted. So many little tips have been shared, and so much of clarity regarding the most important part of our body, the gut. I'm sure all of you found the evening as insightful as I did. Thank you for staying on we had to keep it at 8 p.m. because it had to be convenient for Dr. Pal as well, who stays in the US, on the West Coast. So thank you for staying on this late and encouraging us during this session of Expression Espresso, for continuing to remember to connect to us each time while I meet you at different locations. I'm just back because of the amazing feedback and the request for more. Take care, all of you, and we'll meet on our next episode or show with another interesting guest, hopefully sometime very soon. See you all soon. Ta-da.